Hi, welcome to the Retirement Railroad Matinee Modeling Tip of the Day. I'm Steve, and today we're on to part 9 of building Aurora. Now, I've been kind of absent due to a koi show and a subsequent creepy crud. No, not the showstopper, just down and out for a week. And but part 9 is building the hardwood furniture factory. Okay. And I've been piddling around with this during my creepy crud. And so here's what we've got so far. All right. I have already truncated the building. All right. And this loading dock over here. All right. The rail goes, the team track will go right through that. All right. So I've truncated it, and I've also given it a coat of my special blend paint to help hide the putty where it's been pieced back together. And of course it gets a lot more painting as well, and lighting and all kinds of stuff. Right. So next step here is to do some highlight painting. I'm going to use a sponge and highlight all these column rock work, these corner column and center column rock work with some, I say white, it's actually a very light gray. Right? And then there's also some intricate detail in these panels, and I'll be using a white marker pen to get into some of those fine detailed areas. Now the other thing on this kit, on the previous ones that I picked up at the Real Rails train show, where they had the windows blacked out or painted, and then I came in and, well, two of them did. One of them just had a black wash on it, and black wash gives a really neat effect because when the lights are on, it looks like they're shadowing in shadows inside. So for this one, I'm doing something a little bit different. I have already used a matte finish on the glazing for the windows. Okay? So in other words, light will be able to escape, but you won't be able to go in and see all the wiring and bulbs and all that kind of stuff inside. Okay? So that's what we got for that. This building also has a water tower, and we'll also be getting a blinking red light on top of its water tower. All right. So with that, stay tuned, and I'll start working on some of this fine detail. Okay, so I've gone through and I have painted up the columns, the rock columns, and the decorative cornices, keystones. And I've done that all the way around. Okay, and the way I did it was I used a sponge. Okay, and what looks to be white paint, but it's actually a very, very light gray. And I've used it, and what I would do is I'd come in and gently wipe on the paint. But then I would come back, because that almost is the same as brushing it on, it leaves streaks. So then I'd come in and stipple it with the sponge. Okay, and you can't see it, but for the rivet counters out there that look at the detail, and I'm not one of those people, it looks like the chiseled rock is what it looks like close up, and that's the effect I wanted. Then I came back with a small number 2 brush and did the cornices and keystones. You notice I missed a keystone here. Okay? And the next step in this is also to do all this fine decorative work. So I have a white paint pen, and it is good to fix little things where I don't have to go in and dirty up a brush. There it goes. Simple as that. This one needs a little touch up, I think, in here. Okay. Now, a few other little tidbits. I'm not a great painter. Don't profess to be one. Okay. By the way, that dark area is just a shadow. But there are places where the paint is a little bit overdone. You know, I've got a spot right over in here. You probably don't know if you can see it or not. All right. But using the blade of a knife, you can come in and clean up these areas. Here's a spot right here. That's visible. Okay. So simply coming in, and I'm not cutting into the plastic. I'm just scraping off the paint. And I don't want to do too much because there's also a couple coats of my gray concrete color on here. But if you just do this a little bit, it takes away the noticeability. All right. If somebody sees what's left over, well, tough. But it just takes away from a glaring mistake, so the eye isn't attracted to it directly. Anyway, all right. The same thing occurs on these windowsills, which are extremely hard to paint, and the window frames will take out a lot of it. So I need to scrape it off anyway, so it will glue to it. These decorative cornices, only about half of that area is painted. But it's easy to come in and clean this up. And watching me do this is like watching paint dry, I'm sure. So we're gonna just finish off this one side, and then I'll let you take a break, so to speak, until I'm ready to do the next step. Okay? So with that, all right, hang tight. I'll finish up the other three sides, and we'll move on to the next step. So we're back, and what we've done is we've installed all the window framing, all the doors. After that, I've given it a wash of black, and what that helps to do is fill in some of the detail and add some shadowing type effects. After that has set, I went in and added a wash of gray, and what that helps to do, it helps to add like dust staining, grime buildup, and it takes away the shine of the plastic. And you know, if you look close, you can see some of the effects of the washes. Right, the brown windowsills have a gray effect to them, depending on how the light is shining. And the black wash under this cornice detail here, you can see how it's added some shadowing and between the rock columns. It also helps to, on closer inspection, give that marbling effect that I talked about previously to the cut rock columns. So all that is done. The next step is to add the window glazing and the lighting. After that, we will add the roof and do some final airbrush weathering at that point, and then we'll call it done for the furniture factory. So again, stay tuned. We'll get on to the next part. So here we are. We're all done with the hardwood furniture factory, and I think it turned out really well. We'll give you a look at it here. There we go. Kind of close up. It's all weathered up. You can notice some grime, so to speak, on it, especially on the water tower, which was painted Krylon aluminum, and then a wash with a brown rust, and you know, all that is the same brown I use to paint the base of the ground here at the layout, and I just water it down a bunch and use it as a wash, and then I come back and I have a black acrylic India ink wash that once the brown is dry, I come back over with it, and I think it gives a pretty good effect. And you can notice the elevator tower there in the center of the roof is also grimed up some, along with the chimney. So, all right, just to give you an idea of how it fits, so to speak, into Aurora. That's the progress kind of mock-up so far with the hardwood furniture factory all the way over there on the right. And moving left, you have the Frost cold storage, then the King Midas flour mill, and finally Huff of Cement on the left. Now I do have one more kit to build, and that is the new Walthers brewery. And looking at it, it is going to be a challenge. So I'm going to have fun with that one over the next few weeks. Now these are not the final placements for these buildings. Okay? I will, depending on the depth of the building and how I want the track that runs down the street of Aurora to run, will determine where the final places are. And it's easy for me because using the RCA plugs on the copper tape bus lines, I can move the buildings around fairly simply. Anyway, all right, to wrap it up, let's take a look at kind of an overview and how how this hardwood furniture factory looks from different angles and different lighting. Just a few views there. With that, I want to thank you for joining me here at the Retirement Railroad. Matinee modeling tip of the day. All right. I'm Steve, and y'all have a great day. Bye now.